Buenos nachos, amigos, and welcome to Hallyujuku, a podcast about East Asian pop culture by a couple of guys that are up to no good. I don't know. We're here to talk about East Asian pop culture, talk about the ins and outs, things that are going on, things that interest us, things that catch our attention. I'm Petey Rave, your man with no plan. Here with me is my tag team partner, my partner in crime, my right-hand man to my left-hand side, Brandon Cooper, a.k.a. King Kaz. How you doing, Kaz?
I am something. I'm still recovering from the not TwitchCon that recently happened. And just trying to recover. Trying to fucking drink my electrolytes.
It's your electrolytes. Plants love them. Yeah, you had TwitchCon. I've got a business trip to Seattle coming up. I'm excited for actual possible travel next year. Things are happening. All right. Yeah. Let me
shout out to my karaoke fucking partner, fucking Panda.
Nice. What y'all rock at the karaoke? What y'all bust out?
I don't remember. I do not remember.
That is the correct answer. You win. That's the correct answer right there. That's how you karaoke. But that being said, things we do remember, things that are going on, things that have caught our attention since we last gathered. Kaz, what's new? What's caught your attention since we last gathered?
Something caught my attention that actually you brought up to my attention, which was this thing that you talked about where you said John Legend was going to be doing a track with someone, and we knew, I think we knew it was somebody from Red Velvet, or we knew it was going to be, I don't remember what we knew was happening, but we knew John Legend was going to be doing a station track with someone.
Yeah.
And this is the song that has been released. It is John Legend and Wendy from one of my favorite groups, Red Velvet, who seem to just be very sneaking out there and hitting those cameos and hitting those features.
Yeah.
So shout out to the girls from Red Velvet, fucking putting in work. It's why I stand them, brother. Fucking let's go. Red Velvet out here doing work. And I've been very hit or miss with a lot of the station tracks. I know you've brought a lot of them to our attention to kind of talk about, because it's a thing that's permeating of a lot of crossbreeding and just all this other stuff. It's really good shit to have SM station happening. So coming into this one, my barrier to entry for this being good was very low. And I don't want to make that an excuse, because then I came to this and I was like, it's fucking Wendy, so I'm halfway there because it's somebody from Red Velvet. And then it's John Legend. And I don't think I've heard John Legend in a while. And I forgot how amazing this dude is.
Yeah.
I knew he's good, but holy shit, he fucking kills this.
Yeah, the vocal performances are really, really nice, especially John Legend, who's fantastic, and in his vocals, and Wendy holds her own really well. This is a club banger. This is not. this is a plaintive ballad. This is kind of very coffee shop music.
No, fuck that. This is baby making music right here, really.
Yeah.
All right, this is turn the lights off. Shit's about to go down. Music.
I'm glad I experienced it. I'm glad I enjoyed it. I experienced it. I don't know if I'm gonna go back to it often in my K-pop listens. But I think there's a lot to like in what they created here with this collaboration.
You know what this starts to make me think of now when it comes to SM Station and all this stuff that's happening with this particular project is I think this starts to give more and more and more credence that I think people like us, right? Those kind of very diehard fans who were already there, and now that the music industry is catching up, and I think the music industry for maybe once in their lifetime is a little bit ahead of the curve, maybe a few years behind, but a little bit ahead of the curve on these things are good for everyone, kind of thing, right? Like maybe everybody doesn't hold John Legend in such a high regard that they used to, right? But to have John Legend on a track with for what some people will be some chick from a K-pop group, you know, and she's holding her own vocally, I think some people will look at that and be like, oh shit, like maybe there's actually something to this K-pop thing, which has already been happening, but I think you need more things like this to keep it happening. And they keep people going, oh, maybe K-pop is something I want to check out. Maybe I do want to find a group that I like. Maybe this and that, whatever.
Yeah. So a K-pop artist collaborating with somebody that's got EGOT status.
Yeah.
Which is,
and it's not a rapper that we're disappointed in. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like it's not somebody who we're like, oh, fuck. Yeah, you're gonna fucking track with Yo Gotti? Who the fuck? Why? Like,
yeah, or Black Eyed Peas.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's nice. It's a cool like collaboration. It's a cool moment to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're definitely feeling it.
What's up? What else has it got?
Next up, it's the boys from Monster Inc. Monster X.
Not Monster Inc. That'd be Inc.
I was trying to remember what the fucking show was called, and I couldn't, and I just said Monster Inc. But it's the boys from Monster X. With their it's a release from their new album that's coming out. This one is Shout Out. I like this. There's some parts of it that don't super hit for me, but like I think overall, good shit from the boys from Monster X.
Yeah, I think it's definitely like it's following a very consistent like a concept for them. Also, I do enjoy that. And even an Asian junkie pointed out that this is officially the K-pop anthem of Fozzie Bear. With the Waka Waka Waka.
Yeah.
It's just but other than that intonation, I think it's a solid song. It has a good energy to it.
So something else I've noticed, and this is like a way out there thing. But I don't know if you noticed this too, but like the subtitle tracks for like the closed captions on YouTube are starting to get way better. Where I think it was like a couple weeks ago or like maybe a few months ago that now you have sometimes when they put that effort in, you have the name in front of the line. And I think that's pretty cool for that thing that is constantly in my head, which is getting people into K-pop, right? So it's kind of very hard because people are going to have some silliness and like, wait, is that? No, that's not that person. Is that person? No, that's not that person.
Yeah.
If you do these things that make it easier and easier and easier for them to like, oh, that's this person thing, or that's that guy from this group thing, like,
yeah,
fucking just.
And then I will say, you could either do that yourself, or I think what they've also done was they opened it up for other people to add subtitles for them to approve.
Yeah.
So that like they can reach out and they can, you know, kind of tap into the fandom to help them grow that, you know, let your fandom help you grow your group, and to the point where now not only do they have English subtitles, they have Arabic, English, Filipino, French, German, Hungarian, Indonesian, Italian, Korean, Portuguese, Brazilian Portuguese, Russian, Spanish, Latin America, Thai, Turkish, Vietnamese, and there's an auto-generated English. But like,
and those are probably, like you said, all fan based, which you said, right? So it gives your fans this connection to the production of something that they already love, and that they're willing to do anyway. I don't know. I think when you do these things that allow the fans a little bit of way more interaction, right? Like, it just helps. It just fucking helps, and it's just good, fucking good shit.
Yeah.
But all right, we're gonna waka out of here into my next track, and it's your boy, my boy, the only boy, throwing up the rock, J-Park, Sexy Forever. And I think you have to say it that way because it's spelled that way. Sexy Forever.
The Prince spelling. Using the phone number 4. Sexy Forever.
Forever. With a very Drake edit style video out here.
Yes.
Don't think I didn't catch that. This is a fucking Drake style video, bruh. And I forget who did it before Drake, but Drake is kind of known for doing these videos of just like people in their environment and me, that guy. That guy. But it's J Park doing what we love J Park. I mean, I love J Park doing anything, but you very specifically have a very specific atonement to J Park, and it's when he's doing R&B.
Yeah.
And this is R&B J Park right here.
Yeah.
This is that shit.
I think no matter, like, I like this song. There's something to really enjoy the vibe of the song. The song is so good. Even like, honestly, I think even if I didn't like J Park, I would still enjoy this song. Just the kind of the personality of the song. It's fun. The song, it's well made. It has a cool like beat. You know, it's got a nice cha-cha beat, boy. It's got J Park's, you know, wackiness. You know, he has to throw the shoot in there, and then proceeds to dab afterwards. You know, which is, you know, his fun fuckboyism, which we all know and love. I think the big thing for this is I think this is a song I can just like play for people that don't know anything about K-pop, and and it won't have anything to do with like, oh, is this K-pop? They just think, yo, this fucking slaps, bro. It's like, this is lit. Like, yo, this shit's lit. Like, I'll fucks with it. Like they be into it. I don't know. What else you got to think about this?
I mean, this is just this. I think this is gonna be one of those tracks, and I'm hoping it's one of those tracks that gets radio play, because we know J Park has been making that American push, and this is definitely a video that will definitely play on those you know places that still show videos. I don't know what those places are, but there are
MTV
places that do that
early in the morning. I'm gonna say, like when you're having your breakfast. MTV.
Yeah, but I think this definitely has that radio play thing. And then I think this is something that you can then permeate into the thing that he's been doing, where he does a track, then he kind of, you know, is almost super quick with doing the remix, you know, where you then tack on the features. And I think this is the one where you start to go after the bigger names, right? You put a Drake on this, you put a fucking like you put a Rich Homie Quan on this or something like that. Well, not a Rich Homie Quan, that wouldn't work together, but like, you know, put a Drake on this, put a fucking Anderson .Paak or just somebody else who has that permeation right now. that in America where you want it and grow it, because I think this is that track to do that.
Yeah, I think it's such a quality song. I think I'm looking forward to kind of just like bumping it for people. I think people will dig it regardless. Plus, I get. It's always fun to seeing Jay Park just kind of like put his personality into it. It's never, his personality is never very well hidden. But I think when it shines, he shines, and I think that's what works well for this. And I'm looking forward to more from the crew, from Jay Park and the crew. Yeah. For maybe art of music movement. Speaking of talented breakdancers, I guess that works kind of. He had the art of movement group. So I want to have a couple of songs, but first I want to kind of drop a little post-mortem on Dancing High, because I'd mentioned it a couple times. And it came to an end after a whopping 8 episodes. Which is interesting. I just kind of want to drop my thoughts. I think overall it was an enjoyable experience. I think there's a lot to like about the show. The dancing was really well done. They had a lot of talented dancers, and kind of like it gave me that America's Best Dance Crew fix that I kind of been wanting, and it worked well. It's not a great show, but it's fun. I think there's a lot to like nitpick. I think the fact that it was short, just 8 episodes, like basically just like 3 stages, like 3 basically rounds of stages, because a couple of those kind of went across 2 episodes. So it was like there was the auditions, then there was round 1 over 2 episodes, then round 2 over 2 episodes, then a filler episode of a kind of mostly meaningless dance battle that was done at the dance practice studios, I guess just to fill an episode, and then the final stage, which is it felt abrupt and kind of it made a couple things, like those 2 previous rounds having the last team eliminate 2 dancers. It made those feel meaningless, because ultimately at the end of it all, they had 5 teams of 7, which is 35. That's how you do. That's the math, right? 35. They eliminated 4 dancers, and then the show's over. Like at what point? Like at that point, it's like, okay, what were those eliminations for? Like, what was the point of those eliminations? Like, to like maybe if one team like loses last place on those both missions, you can like cut a team, but like I think it feels like maybe it was supposed to go longer, like to the point where maybe a team or 2, or maybe like all up until they got to like 1 team or something like that, or until maybe they got to like the last like crew, until like it got down to the last few dancers to like really kind of eliminate. But maybe the ratings, because the ratings were just not there, they kind of cut it short, which I think it almost feels like that.
Yeah, that could definitely happen, where it's one of those things where production ends up rushed, so you end up having to push through more of the production than you would normally, where you could probably get that situation like you're talking about, where by the end you're just like just shifting people, like, and pushing them, like, so you could be like, all right, we got to get this out, like,
yeah,
you ain't got much time.
Yeah, like it's one of those, like, I guess they couldn't quite change the format, or I don't know. It definitely seemed like it was supposed to go longer, but it just kind of ended. Which is fine. I think it was a fun experience. The finale had some nice some nice routines. Like it had some odd moments, odd contrived moments, but like obviously it's a reality show, so of course there's going to be contrived moments, but they were odd. Like one team dedicating their performance to their two eliminated members who were sitting in the audience, and they were all crying like they died, but I get it. It's you got to ramp up the emotion and things like that, and I'm not going to like cast doubt on them being emotional about not being able to like perform with their fellow teammates. But it was just kind of an odd thing to focus on. But I think overall it was a fun show. I don't know if I'd necessarily recommend it as like everyone should see this. I'd say maybe just go check out the performances on YouTube, and you'll be fine for the most part. It's not a long watch. It's only like 8 episodes, but maybe you just watch a few of the performances on YouTube and you'll be fine. But yeah, Dancing Guy. I think it just made me miss America's Best Dance Crew. I want that show again. If it's not already on the air, because I don't know. I don't watch television, so I don't know. It might well be on the air.
You want it somewhere you can see it.
Yeah, exactly. That being said, aside from the fact that also I'm still salty about Beat Freaks losing after all these years, I'm still salty about that. Beat Freaks should have won. That being said, moving forward to a couple of songs that caught my attention. BABYMETAL are back.
Yeah.
There's some updates on member differences that we'll get to in the headlines. But that's then. Right now we're going to talk about their new track, Starlight. And it kind of came out of nowhere. It's a really good song. It's a really nice, intense song. It kind of really solidifies this like switch to the new like lore for BABYMETAL, of kind of like this dark baby metal. It's like even more emphasizing the dark like intensity and metal aspects in a way. And I think it works well. I think musically it's really well made. I think Sue Metal continues to grow as a singer, and is showing it in the vocals. But overall, it's just a really solid BABYMETAL track, and I think a solid metal track. And it's just it's really cool to kind of listen to. The video's interesting. It is interesting that none of the members are on in the video, but yeah, I get it. I think they kind of chose with actors to kind of like do this different story, I guess. But that of course kind of makes me worry about it.
I mean, but it also feels a little disjointed. You know what I mean? Like when you do that. Because it doesn't really feel like there's a true narrative when you're doing something that's narrative based in your performance and in your showmanship. You know what I mean? Like, because like you said, there's this whole kind of showmanship and lore to this. So when you put out a new video, when there hasn't been anything for a while, it does seem a little weird. But yeah. I still like the song. Like you said, the song is really good.
Yeah, I think it's really well made. I think the guitar work is really cool. Like because of the intensity, like the like there are moments in there which kind of like the instrumental, like the instrumentation takes over, and it just like has a nice like heaviness, a nice like high octane feeling to it. And I think that I'm looking forward to what if anything will come of this as far as like maybe a new album, hopefully, because I love both of the main BABYMETAL albums, both BABYMETAL and Metal Resistance. So like another full album would be fantastic, especially kind of like with this new approach and this new vibe they're going for. So I'm hoping hoping. We'll see. We're hoping for some fantastic news from BABYMETAL. But yeah. Moving forward, last but not least, BoA is back. The legendary BoA is back with a new track, and walking on the ceiling apparently, or just walking on air. BoA is back with a new track called "Woman." Feels good to be a woman, according to BoA. And it is a really nice song. There's something really cool and like about it. It's a nice bravado in it. It is very much signature BoA as far as like the performance and the vocals. It is BoA's vocal, like, kind of BoA's like unique vocal direction, which is fantastic. She's great. She looks great. She's performs great. There's a lot of really cool like things about this, and like one of the things that people have pointed out, that she dances like a dancer, like in many ways, which is, I don't remember where it was, but like somebody had pointed out that she specifically dances like a dancer rather than like an idol, being having choreography drilled into them. She dances like this is her passion and profession, and like in a specific style and way that makes it feel like a complete performance in a way. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think, Kaz?
Oh no, she's had some weird tracks for me, but this one is like very modern but still BoA. You know what I mean? Like, where I think that's been the struggle for me with some of the other tracks that she's done recently, where it's like it's either stuck in a time period or it just doesn't. It just feels like something that was handed to her, whereas this one definitely has the personality and the vocals and like has a good modern musicality to it, while still kind of, because like BoA's been around for a while, so like there's just, I don't know, it's just weird sometimes, like when you think about BoA and certain sounds.
Yeah. Also, connection to Dancing High. The little girl that you see at the later on in the video, kind of doing the hip hop dancing, like this is a Missy Elliott video. Was a contestant on Dancing High, and she was actually part of the winning team, the winning Just Jerk team. She's actually really talented. She's like 12, 13 years old. And she was hands down. She was number one in the preliminary rankings, and with good reason, because she just kind of like busted out this tight hip, like really good, really fantastic hip hop performance, and also she did it as part of her audition completely freestyle, and like, which is really fantastic. So like, I'm looking forward to seeing her continue to kind of push her career as a dancer, which is really nice. But yeah, BoA, fantastic. Like she's the legend. She's the queen of K-pop for a reason. And this just solidifies that. But yeah, that's it for what's new. I will say, yes, the new RM mixtape is out. And already, and I have checked out a couple tracks. I didn't feature any because I want to sit down and like explore it. Like I want to sit down and like just explore it and like let it, listen to it for a little bit before I like bring it on the show and talk about it. Because I like a couple of the songs, but I want to give it like its time, because it seems like a really cool mixtape, even though it's not this epic thing, but I just kind of want to give it its time. But keep an eye out for that. I'm sure I'll talk about it. Ramon doing his thing. Yeah, that's it for what's new. we're gonna head on over to the headlines. So join us on the flip side. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we now go into our headline segment. We're talking about some topical topics in the world of East Asian pop culture. Things that are going on, things that are happening, things that are permutating, as it were. All right, let's get down to it. Down to the nitty gritty. YUIMETAL has left BABYMETAL to launch solo career. So this is kind of the thing I was alluding to earlier. YUIMETAL kind of has been out for a little while, as we've talked about on the show. There was a lot of things going back and forth about why. A lot of things like, oh, it's the lore, it's this, is that the other thing. But now it's confirmed that she is going to kind of follow her own path in her own career. Probably not involving any metal. She will just go back to being Mitsuno Yui, and doing her thing as an idol, which sounds fine, which sounds fantastic. I look forward to checking it out. But then kind of she wrote her own letter about going on her own as Mitsuno Yui. And kind of like, giving thanks and, and to all the fans and thanks to, the members and everything else. And yeah, it's good to get, this is what I just wanted. This is just, hey, we get it. She's leaving the group. Just let us know and we're good. We'll wish her well and we'll move forward. It was the non-announcement. But I guess it was probably waiting on having the solo career stuff lined up and having this all lined up, which is probably what delayed most of it.
It could also just be one of those things where, like, you want to make sure all your eggs are in a basket. I don't think you want to be too far ahead of yourself. I don't think you want to be so far ahead that you're like, oh, she's out of the group, and then like maybe she looks at her options and she's like, actually, no, I'll stay. And you're like, well, shit, we already said you're out. Like, you just want to make sure all the ink is dry on everything. Like, if it really is she's deciding to walk away, I think you want to make sure that is a thing and that there's no way maybe these two futures can mix. And I'm pretty sure they probably exhausted every avenue before they finally came to the agreement that, like, okay, fine, this is what it is.
Yeah. And,
I would hope that that's how that went, because that sounds like good business, but that's probably not how it went, because it's the Japanese music industry. So somebody's missing a finger out there.
Yeah. And
there's a man who now waves at you like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a visual joke.
Yeah.
Put one of your fingers down. There you go. You got it.
Watcha. And I can definitely see how, like, they maybe waited to, like, kind of not have the she's out and then having to remind everyone who she was later on when they bring out her solo career, but instead once they have everything planned and know they can say, oh, she's gonna do her solo stuff, they can kind of like pair that with the announcement that, oh, it's a bummer she's leaving, but hey, she's got solo stuff, keep an eye out for that. I can definitely see that. Or they could have just been waiting until they absolutely had to announce it, which was probably because there's, with the upcoming probable promotions of an album or whatever. At that point, they were like, well, we have to say something.
Yeah. And like you said, I think there could also be a mix of just, there can also just be a mix of being in a situation where I feel like for her, you're in a situation where this silly idea has gone on and is like growing even more, and it seems great, and it's like, all right, I don't mind it, but it's like it's not what you're passionate about. Like, even in being what the hell? Even in being successful, like you're not passionate about your success.
I think Cookie has a strong opinion on this.
Yeah, he's just looking for something to fuck with.
Yeah. You guys locked eyes. It was hilarious. The even the viewers can't see that because of the way I cropped it, but you guys locked eyes. It was amazing. Yeah, I think I could definitely see that. Like when this started, it was a fun idea. It was like, they were all just idols, just kind of like, okay, we'll do, with no choice of what they were going to do in their career or path or music or anything, and they were like, okay, I guess we're doing this, and it worked out, and it became bigger than the group that they were part of, and it became an 8-year-long thing, where like she spent, she's YUIMETAL, now Mitsuno Yui is, I believe, 18 at this point, 18, 19, and she's probably thinking like, I'm not a metal person, like, especially kind of seeing this as like how it's been slowly just kind of like coalescing into just a really a really prominent metal group that has pop style vocals rather than this is just becoming a metal band. And she's like, well, I like Ariana Grande and like pop music and like and I want to just sing and have my own solo career, but this is becoming a thing, so either like I could definitely see where like she decided this is maybe not, before it gets too much and before I get too like before I lose too much of an opportunity to kind of like have my youthful pop singer career, I kind of want to just pivot.
And on I don't know anything at all, right? Like, I want to put that out there. I know nothing. But there could also be this little bit of a thing that sticks in my brain of like maybe not wanting to be that second fiddle, right? Because when most people talk about BABYMETAL, they're either like, oh my god, Sue Metal's vocals, oh my god, this band, you know what I mean? Like the actual instrumentation of BABYMETAL, right? And these pairing vocals are sometimes seen as like background in a sense, and unless you're maybe like paying attention or you're a big fan, like the other two girls don't seem like anything to you. Because I know that's what it felt like for me at first when I paid attention to BABYMETAL. It was like, oh, it's Sue Metal, there's this really great band, and then these two girls doing backing vocals. But they as I've come to know, like they're very much a part of this process, like everyone else is. But sometimes it doesn't show that way, or sometimes if you're not paying attention, it doesn't seem that way. So I think those things are hard too.
Yeah. Go ahead and check out the letters and the statements over on Metal Injection, the article I linked in the show notes. And there's a letter from Yui-chan. It's kind of like a nice little like send off, which is really cool, and I look forward to seeing what she does. Hopefully we'll actually get to see it.
Yeah,
but it is J-pop though, so
it's gonna get locked in a dungeon for 13 years.
It will be released in Japan in Japanese with a Japanese title and only in physical copies. And that shit ain't coming on YouTube. Is what we're saying. Yeah. All right. Speaking of international exposure, BlackPink signed with Interscope and Universal Music Group, who will now rep them outside of Asia. This is an Asian Junkie article. BlackPink has taken the next step to making further worldwide inroads, as they have been signed by Interscope Records and Universal Music Group, according to Billboard. The quartet will of course remain with YG Entertainment, but the deal one of a global partnership, and they will thus be represented by the industry giant in their ventures outside of Asia. YG, Teddy, Sir Lucian Grange, and John Janik all released statements about the deal, and you can kind of read them in the article. So the assumption is that BlackPink is preparing for actual promotions in the West, but it's YG, so
yeah. So once again, this story plays very similar to when 2NE1 started doing stuff with Pharrell, and we're talking to different labels and like about doing American representation to release a 2NE1 album in America and all this other shit. And there was all this shit in their little YouTube series about them making songs with Pharrell.
And then nothing. That being said,
so
I don't know. I will say the sad thing that might be different is that YG actually likes BlackPink, and he thinks that so he might actually do more with them.
Well, no. Here's the thing. I think the thing that is different is the worldview of K-pop. BlackPink has already done songs, if I am correct, with American artists. I think they did a song with that one chick. Yeah. They have a song with her that's on her double album. And I think there's other things that they're talking about, and not even just BlackPink. So just like we talked about with Jay Park, and even CL to a certain extent, there are all these other crossover artists coming from Korea into the American music industry. So I think now more than ever, the American music industry knows K-pop is something that it can actually bank on and is bankable. So if you have a record label like this willing to put money up, then they're going to want a product. You know what I mean? I think before, what you had was the Korean music industry upfronting the money to possibly have a product. And in knowing YG, they don't like to spend money. They only like to make money. So in this situation, if they're the ones making money while someone else is spending money, then they're all in. It doesn't matter. I think before
they don't have to do any work.
Yeah. So I think before it was a thing, especially with 2NE1, where they were going to have to spend money. And YG don't like spending money. Yeah. So
you don't like having to do things. It's hopeful. Depending on how you look at it, depending on how things go. They are a popular group. They are globally regarded. They're they literally are the fastest. From what I saw in the headline, their fastest K-pop group to reach 450 million on a view on a video, which is for Doo 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 Doo. That has 450 million views, and it's kind of blowing up. So they have that clout. So to kind of ride in and do something internationally, and I think that'll be interesting to see, especially kind of looking now with these solo releases possibly. After Jenny's release, which I'm kind of like with the teasers, I'm a little iffy on, but I'm looking forward to it. We'll have to see. I think we'll have to see. Because again, the point of it being, again, YG doesn't like to do things. If they have to actually put in work, they're not going to be happy. Like say for the situation with MIXNINE. As we transition over to the next headline, YG Entertainment lawyers make excuses about lack of debut MIXNINE lawsuit. Happy face lawyers fire back. Basically, YG, and part of the whole lawsuits, their legal representative kind of put out a statement, basically confirming a lot of what we thought, which is like, so let's go into the quote. YG legal representative stated, quote, if MIXNINE was a successful program, a thing such as cancellation debut would not have happened. However, it is true that the program did not score well, so we feel sorry and pitiful. We also suffered from a lot of damages because of the show, end quote. The representative added, quote, releasing the album for the final members was not a mandatory clause in the contract. Since all the members' agencies were different, we originally requested for full authority of managing all the members for 4 months. We started preparing for debut, but we soon came to the conclusion that we could not create a successful album within 4 months with this team. So we suggested to the agencies that we have a 3-year promotional preparation period, end quote. The lawyer concluded by saying, quote, all the agencies had different positions towards our suggestion. There was one agency that said that 3 years was too long, while another agency agreed to the length. However, according to the contract, all 9 members had to participate. That's why negotiations broke down, end quote. Of course they did. Mm-hmm. We did not expect any trial regarding requests for compensation, blah, blah, blah. And then, like, Happy Face kind of fires back with their own statement. If the contract had been properly fulfilled in negotiations with all the other member agencies, and YG would not have broken down. Lawyer added, it was possible to debut the team within 4 minutes at that time. However, YG's reasons that they could not make the team's debut because the program does not score well makes us feel exactly like this traditional saying. Their quote, you swallow if it's sweet and spit it out if it's bitter. Which is kind of like a pretty apt saying right there. Basically saying that, when a person is used when it refers to when a person is used when his or services is needed, and distance between that person is kept when he or she is no longer needed. Like keeping a person close when they're useful, and then throwing them away when they're not useful. Yeah, I think it basically admitted what we all knew, which is once they realized that the group wasn't gonna be the new 101 like out of the gate, that they would have to do actual promotional work. They did what they needed to do to sabotage the deal so that they could wash his hands of it, because like seriously, like this, because the 3 year, it really comes down to the 3 years. Like if they had come back with, 4 months is enough, give us a year, that would have been reasonable. It still would have been them changing the terms, but that would have been reasonable. Like give us a year, because obviously we need some time to promote this group and actually build it. So that would have been a reasonable amount of time, and I guarantee you, like a lot of those, like, well, they would have kind of like been a little bit back and forth, but they would have at least considered it, and it didn't feel as ridiculous. But this was too obvious, as from YG's part, to be like, in that they were just trying to like, like scorched earth way of like just absolving themselves of responsibility. I don't know. What was your reaction to this?
I mean, I don't know. I don't have any more of a reaction than I've had. It's just, this is just showing how petty they are in YG. So
yeah. And I think like that just kind of like solidifies things. It kind of goes back to like, I'm hoping for the best from Happy Face. in their attempt to kind of prove a point. You can't push people around just because you're YG.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the reality might be that at the end of it all, YG might be proven right in saying that no, yeah, we can push people around because we're YG. We just don't know. I don't know. Hoping for the best for Happy Face Entertainment. Hoping for the best for this, because I'd like the old guard to at least get some damage into the armor a little bit, because it's kind of like a very very crowded market, but it's all run by only a couple of groups, and can get to do whatever they want. And that's not fun. So, also YG is a scumbag. But yeah. Last but not least, I just want to kind of bring this last article, just because this plays into some of the discussions going on in several different fields for the past couple of years, on the idea of overworking, crunch, be it the games industry, being it media, being it the regular workplace, being tech, but especially Korean dramas. CJ E&M, who promised to change, seemingly did not, as they're now accused of labor law violations. In April of last year, CJ E&M came under fire for their treatment of a PD on the drama Drinking Solo after he committed suicide. Later in June, they issued a formal apology and made promises to change their ways. They see the destructive power of a lie, and they're very sorry, and they promise they're going to change. Now, to the surprise of only people who think gigantic corporations are families, it turns out CJ E&M is under fire by the Hanbit Media Labor Rights Center for not adhering to labor laws and guidelines. Their statement says, on October 30th, Hanbit Center reported several companies to be in violation of the Labor Standards Act to the Seoul Regional Employment and Labor Administration. The companies include CJ E&M, Studio Dragon, Kim Jong-hak Production, I Will Media, and Crave Works. Basically not paying for overtime work, requiring them to work ridiculous hours, 100 hours a week. Hey, there's a time a week that is familiar to some people out there listening to gaming headlines. And they ain't even making great cowboy games. They're just making shitty dramas. According they're talking about 100-hour weeks, unpaid overtime, same song and dance that is not just in this, it's being talked about in multiple fields all over the world. And it's they're requesting an investigation. We'll have to see if it actually happens. Again, because this stuff runs the Korean economy. But
I mean, this is one of those things that just run deep. Especially sometimes when you take advantage of a culture. Yeah. Koreans are known for wanting. I mean, it's kind of an Asian culture thing of wanting to do your best. So people kind of go over a little bit, and I think there's a certain extension that you can have where you allow people to do that, where you allow people to who want to show their best foot forward. And try to be reasonable, hey, I that's awesome, but maybe we can't do this because of this. Especially when it comes to monetary things. But when you push upon people those things, and then you don't want to equate that with the monetary value that should come along with it, you're the bad guy.
Yeah. You're kind of taking advantage of the fact that that in many Asian cultures they don't really have that "fuck you, pay me" mentality of like, yeah, okay, you want me to work extra hours? Okay, where's my extra pay?
Yeah,
where's my extra pay?
hell, we're starting to lose that shit a little bit too now. Like,
well, the game, like I said, the games industry and all that,
yeah,
and a lot of it is suggested. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like these productions, and you think of like, man, this doesn't. I would say for one thing of like, not to like make it a we're better than them kind of thing, this side better than that side, or kind of being judgmental. You kind of don't really see that in Hollywood, but there's an obvious reason for that. They have unions.
Yeah. But you don't see it anymore, and it's because Hollywood's been a longer running entity.
And
we saw it. How long ago was it? Maybe 7-8 years ago when we had the writer strike. You know what I mean? Like
they could go on strike.
Yeah,
they have a union.
Like. But that's been built over years, you know what I mean? And there was probably a lot of bullshit leading up to that led to a situation where they felt like that was their best result, was to walk away from work. So,
but they could always do that because they have those labor protections because they have a union.
Yeah,
and it's one of those things where it's like, not to get on my soapbox about it, but like it's the thing that is always around every discussion of all of these things is like, hey, well, imagine if there were people on this side of the table of when it comes to negotiations and having to set rules. Imagine if you could instead of you being the one person that has to speak up about things, if you can all speak about things as a collective entity that holds the power. It's definitely again, it's I understand I'm over here, they're over there, it's me speaking onto another culture, another country, all high and mighty, because obviously there's still work to be done. It's not an easy fix, but I'm just I'm looking forward to them being the idea, at least somebody trying to hold them accountable.
Yeah, hopefully it gets to a point where they earn better protections against things like this. That's all I really am ever gonna say is there are too many people. I mean, there are people I know on this side who are in those situations where they work at a place and it's just there are expectations of you because of where you work that you should just do certain things, and I'm like, man, that's rough. And there are even places where people have unions, but then it becomes this nickel and dime thing where you're like, okay, I'll do that. Okay, but will you do this? Okay, maybe, but what about this? And it's like, all right, do I have to get my dog? Do I have to get my dog? So yeah. It's always a rough situation.
Yeah.
We just need more communication and accountability.
Yeah.
And less people being shitty.
Yeah, less people being shitty. Also, I don't know, give your production team fucking time. Maybe less crunchy deadlines.
Yeah.
It's you can set a longer deadline. You don't have to it doesn't have to be now. You can, it takes time for production to follow through and be quality. So let it have time. Yeah. Hopefully, we're hoping for the best for everyone, all the workers, all the producers and directors and grips and assistants and all these people to hopefully have better working conditions. Y'all deserve better. Y'all are the backbone of these productions, and y'all deserve to be respected. All right. That brings us to the end of another fantastic episode of Hallyujuku. Kaz, what's going on? What's going on in your world?
Like I said, recovery from TwitchCon. I'm about to spend 7 billion hours playing fucking horses and cowboys over the weekend.
Horse balls. Just staring at
probably gonna
balls,
have a heart attack and die right there.
Yes. And then your horse will crash into a tree, and it'll be the most hilarious thing.
Or I'll be like, I was watching somebody play it the other day, and this is really weird and anecdotal, but like, they did that thing where you kind of are like, oh, I'm gonna walk away for a hot second, and they didn't pause their game because they were coming out of a mission. And they walked away just long enough for like their character to spawn in a town on a horse, and for whatever reason, where he was on that horse pissed people off, and then like somebody called the sheriff, and the sheriff came down and shot him and his horse. So when he came back, he was just like, what the fuck just happened? And his chat had to show him the clip, and he's like, I got shot for loitering?
Bruh, no lollygagging.
What the fuck is this?
No lollygagging. Yes. I'll end up getting Red Dead as well. I look forward to that. It looks like a wild ride, so to speak. It looks pretty fantastic. But yeah, you can see his exploits at King Kaz, be it Sports Odds and Ends, be it DKG Whelp, be it this, that, and the other thing. He's at King Kaz. I'm at PD Rave. The show is at Hallyujuku. Hallyujuku.com, kpoppodcast.com is a great website to share with your friends because it's easy to remember how to spell, unlike our actual name. It's easy for me to remember how to spell, but I figured, something easier.
Well, didn't I tell you, don't you know?
But Rebelly.net for this and other podcasts, Rebelly TV on YouTube, that's R-A-Belly, Belly. Yeah, we're on iTunes, we're on Stitcher, we're all over the place. Everywhere you find podcasts, Pocket Casts, whatever you can think of. You can find our RSS feed on our website. You can leave feedback on our website. Let us know what you think about the things we discuss. About BABYMETAL, about the new progress, about the new J Park, about all these situations with all these label lists, whatever you think, give us some feedback, let us know. Like, share, subscribe, do all things. Until next time, hasta los huevos.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.